And of course, if you have questions or comments, I'm happy to hear them. I'm happy to take any question. Here's one rule: every question's okay. There's no question that's out of bounds. I'll take any question. I'll do my best to answer every question you want. Happy to do it. All right. As you guys know, my name is Larry Sharpe. I'm running for governor. 2018, this year, November 6th, this is when we have to make a change. Now, here's what's important. You asked the question, can I win? How can I win? Let me give you the exact answer why. Anybody in this room did not vote who could have voted in the last 2 elections? Anyone here? Yep, 1, 2. Anybody else? Yeah. Every single time that I come to every event, I always get people who say they didn't vote. Always. About 70% of New Yorkers don't vote. In some counties in Western New York and upstate New York, 1 in 7 vote.
Very good.
Yes, lots do not vote. Why? We have given up. It's called learned helplessness. That's another thing I made up. That's real. People have become, you know what, why bother? But not just that. How many people in this room are considering right now leaving New York State? There we go. Yes, every room I go to, exactly the same thing. Because we are losing about 100,000 New Yorkers every single year.
August, by December, I'd really like to be out of here.
I know, but hopefully I will win you and change your mind. That is my hope. So yes, about 100,000 New Yorkers leave every single year. They are flocking out of here like there's no tomorrow. They're voting with their feet. But here's the worst part for people here. New York City's population is not going down. It's staying the same or going up, which means all that 100,000 is coming from up here. All that 100,000 is coming from Western New York, Southern Tier, Central New York, North Country. It's all coming from up here. They're leaving this place.
Can I just interject?
Please, go ahead.
I watched the video, and that's 3 things that you said. You just said it just now. 3 little words that I never hear from politicians from Albany. Western New York,
Yep.
Central New York,
Yeah.
and by God, the North Country.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Yes. I get that, of course. I get that. That's correct. I mean, there are different cultures within New York. New York is very diverse. It's absolutely true. Which is why I'm up here, to show that I get that. As people bug me and say, but Larry, you're from downstate. How can you possibly know? As I said, I don't have to know. I know you do. I don't ever want to think that I can sit here in Queens or in Albany and go, you know what I know? What's right for you? I never want to do that. And I will never do that. So in fact, my lieutenant governor is from Rochester. So my lieutenant governor is from Western New York. Because I knew that I'd want someone in my ear to tell me, hey, something's going on. Larry, you don't get this. Larry, you don't get this. But not just that. I think another reason. It's not just because he's in Western New York. That was a reason. Another reason is he's a hunter. He's a gun owner. He's a militia member. Yes. All 3. I know that's a part of New York that is very often forgotten. It's forgotten. And I don't want it to be forgotten. But people think, well, as long as I get 2/3 of the votes from downstate, who cares? And that's where it is right now. I don't want that. So I do understand that, to make sure. That's why I use those phrases. I get it. I know what's going on. And farmers up north and farmers in the southern tier, different farmers. Most different farmers. I get that too. So, all right. I want to change how we're doing government in general. I want to make sure that people understand that I don't want people to think you can't vote, you shouldn't vote, it doesn't matter. The most critical piece we have to work on based upon that is unfunded mandates. This thing people don't understand, and it is crushing us. Let me explain what that means. It means Washington and Albany tell every county what they must buy, what they must spend, and how they must spend their money.
Sorry, new phone.
All good.
I didn't realize it was on.
All good. So what does that mean? All right. If Washington and Albany are telling me how much money you must spend, here's what winds up happening. Here's why this begins to fail. Now I go to my local meeting, my local county, my local city council meeting, and I can only handle in any way, shape, or form 5 or 10% of my budget. Everything else is already mandated. I must spend. I must buy. Now we have a lot of counties that are 1/3 on Medicaid, 1/3 on Medicare, and losing population. How is that sustainable? It's not. So here's what happens. I now have these mandates, and my tax base goes down. What am I going to do? I have no option. Well, first piece is, if I'm only working 5% of my budget anyway, why bother showing up? My county's being run by Albany and Washington. Why do I have to, I don't make decisions. So here's the worst part. Some of you have seen this. You go to your local meeting, if you ever go. None of you know when your local meeting is, because nobody knows. And you go there, and there's 4 people there. So when 4 people show up, well, let's see, we showed up, I guess that makes you the chair, you the vice chair, you the secretary, and the treasurer. Done. We all agree, hands up, we win, we run the state now. We run the area. We run this municipality now. We run this locality, because no one else shows up. So now we start having our meetings. No one ever shows up, except when they're angry. When they're angry, they show up. So the 4 of us run this, then you guys are mad about something. You show up. So all we ever deal with is you, as us, and people who are angry. This creates a natural us versus them. And so many counties and local municipalities have that. A natural us versus them. Because you don't show up. Why don't you show up? It doesn't matter if you show up. You don't run your own county. It doesn't matter if you show up. You don't have anything to do with your county. It doesn't matter. You've given up. So now we decide, I don't care about you guys because you always hate us. Now we go behind our back, in our back room, we make the rules by ourselves and come out and announce them as a royal edict. Happens all the time, you've all seen it happen. It's because of our system. But think if we change one thing. Instead of me saying, you must provide these things, I say, choose to provide the things you want to provide. But Larry, then what if we want pre-K? Then vote for pre-K. If we don't want pre-K, then don't vote for them. But wait a minute, I might not have pre-K for my kid. Then show up to your meeting and vote for it, and you can get it. But now you have to show up, because you may not get what you want. If you show up, you will have more leaders. It won't be the 4 of us. If you show up, it'll be more people in your community. If you show up, you'll vote. You'll vote locally, and you'll vote in other elections. And we'll actually have people more involved, and they'll stop giving up. It is that important. It isn't easy, though. It's hard. There are ways we can facilitate it to make it a lot easier. The first thing is, we want to add an idea which is called a charitable choice credit. What this means is, you will be able to put, out of your taxpayer dollars, $250 into any place in New York State, plus $250 into your own county. So you can put all $500 in your own county if you want to. And you can give this to a nonprofit.
In lieu of tax.
That is correct. You remove that from your taxes. If your tax bill was $5,000, now it's $4,500. Now, why do I do that? This is already being done. It's not like I made this up. This is being done already in Arizona. What begins to happen is now, let's say there's 1,000 people who do that. That's $100,000. It's a lot of money. That money goes back into your county to do something that you want. You want cheap childcare? You want better clean roads? You want better sanitation services? Don't vote on it. Just buy it with your tax dollars, with your own charitable giving. Here's the difference. Now it changes. Number one, if I want to do that, I now have to come to you. I'm the guy who does that. I have to come to you to say, I'm good at it. Give me that money that you would pay through taxes anyway. Give it to me, and I'll do this service. My group will do the service. What if my group is bad? You will fire me and give it to someone else. But if you don't do that, here's what happens. I petition the government instead to get your tax dollars anyway through grants. So now who is my customer? Government is my customer, not you. I don't care if I'm good what I do, with what I do. It doesn't matter. I care if I check the boxes the government makes me check. That's what I care about. Was I available here, available there? Did I follow this rule or guideline? Was I politically correct? Did those things? That's the checkbox. I'm bad at what I do? Oh well. We see it all the time. It's, well, government, it's going to cost $1 million. Great, I win the contract. Well, I meant $3 million. That's done. I do that to you. You don't give me the money, I don't get paid. I can't do that to you if you're my customer. It is a way of slowly branching out and allowing each county to begin to give consumer choices to the things they care about. Again, it's a choice. You don't have to. If your county and your local government is doing its job fine and you're happy with it, don't do it. Life is good. I am not forcing you. I'm giving you the option to take that option. Now what will happen? When you come to your community, they won't be lobbying the government. They'll be lobbying you. And that's what I want. You will decide what you want. No more government contracts like that. That can begin to go away slowly. But again, at your pace, when you're ready. Does it make sense? If you remove mandates and add credits, you can see how you can begin to shift your county to where you want to shift your county. This will take time to get involved, and some counties will not make any change at all. And some will jump in with both feet. And both are the right answer. Here's what I know. Innovation, as you mentioned, takes experimentation. That's what it takes. I ask people here, how many people here are now in college? Awesome. How many of you share your work? Share homework, things of that sort? Oh yeah, right, it's okay, no, I know, you all do. I got it, I have a kid also. All the kids share. Now if you've got some gray hair like me, that seems odd. You share your stuff? This is my stuff. No, they all share. This is a sharing world, sharing economy. Why aren't we sharing as our counties do? My only rule in any of these things as governor is not to tell you you must do it, but you must be transparent. That I will enforce. I will enforce transparency. Transparency halts corruption. I cannot get rid of corruption. It is impossible. No one can. No one can. If anyone tells you to get rid of corruption, they're fooling you. They'll fool themselves. You cannot. Can I reduce corruption? Yes, absolutely I can. 100%. Because when someone wants to do something corrupt, they're not thinking to themselves, well, I might do 5 or 10 years. They're not thinking about punishment. They're thinking about being caught. That's it. They're thinking about, will I get caught? Then I go, if I get caught, it's only 5 years, but if I do this, it's 10. No one's thinking that. So I can make the punishment as hard as I want. Doesn't change corruption. They're saying, will I get caught or not? And the more transparent it is, the more chance they'll believe they'll get caught, the less corruption there will be. Does that make sense, everybody? That's what I'm talking about when it comes to our local issues in our local towns and local counties. The more transparency we have, and the more ability to release these mandates. There's a problem, though. There's also federal mandates. Right? There's also stuff coming out from Washington. How does Washington control us? Washington controls us with money. Right? If you don't do X, we don't give you money. Therefore, do X. So what must we do? We must find other ways to have money. One of the things many of you heard me talk about. I'm talking about letting naming rights be available for our infrastructure. Right now we have the Mario Cuomo Bridge. We're naming our bridge by our royal family. Right? Our royal family gets a bridge. That's what we have right now. I'm embarrassed by that, but that's actually a fact. How about instead, we do naming rights? Again, that's something we haven't done before. They do it already with stadiums, right? MetLife Stadium, Staples Center, do it already, it's already done. These are companies paying billions of dollars every year to advertise. And they don't know where to go. Should it be YouTube? Should it be, Facebook? Should it be the Super Bowl? I don't know. I have an idea. Just the MTA in New York City has 12 bridges and tunnels. Doesn't include anything else. Just the MTA and just in New York City. You're telling me they wouldn't pay 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million a year to have their name mentioned every single morning on radio? The bridge on the traffic on the Staples Bridge is bad. Traffic on the Staples Bridge is great. In an area of 16 million, they wouldn't want to do that? Of course they would. They pay 10 million on a stadium that gets used half the year. They wouldn't pay 50 every single day? Of course they would. Of course they would. 50 million times 12? That's $6 billion right there. Isn't it? Am I right? Is that right? No. 600, what was that? 600 million right there. Yeah, 600 million right there. Did I do it right? 600 million? Yes. Yes, whatever, yes. Right? So all of a sudden now we're starting to make more and more money. Now why does that matter? Because not just that, they're responsible for maintenance. And no tolls. You want to help the middle class and the poor? Who's driving? Middle class and poor are driving. The rich people live in Manhattan. They live in the city already. They're not taking no tolls. They live already there. But the people who are middle class and poor, they're driving. Give them a break. You know, if you cross a bridge in New York City, some of the bridges, $13, $15 for one bridge. $13, $15, one bridge. Yeah.
One way.
One way. Yes.
Yeah, but you
Yes.
can get a train round trip to Grand Central from New Haven, Connecticut for $30.
You could. Yes.
And that's what everybody does.
A lot of people do, and it's a disaster. Have you seen the MTA, how bad it is? It's a disaster.
What are you talking about, a disaster?
Have you been paying attention? Have you been there?
It's falling
I gotta
apart.
tell you, I live in New York City. This works great are two words you are not gonna hear about the MTA. There's other two words, it's not works great.
So fun.
That's for sure.
So
It's not.
funded.
Hold
Why are
on.
you bringing cars into New York
I
City?
will tell you why. Hold on, this is a great question. I love this. I will touch the MTA in a second. Let me finish this piece and I'll get right to MTA. I'm happy to do that. Let me finish the piece about raising money. If we can raise money by doing that, right? Bridges and tunnels, that kind of is awesome. But also by sponsoring roads. Now, roads are already sponsored, right? Adopt a highway and they clean the road, right? Love that. It's awesome. Awesome. But instead, how about adopt a highway? Remember that big sign problem we had of the I Love New York signs? And we had to pay like $8 million for all these signs, and half of the jobs in New York, half weren't. How about I said again? Let Verizon do those signs, or let Staples do those. I don't care who does it. You do it. You decide. They control that part. They adopt it. They get their symbol on it. They pay for the maintenance. But Larry, the secondary roads won't be taken care of. That's part of the deal. You want the major road, you get it. But on top of that, you must take care of secondary roads. All those secondary roads that are destroyed will now start getting repaired because they have to, because it's their responsibility. They want to keep it.
And we'll
But hold on.
corporate irresponsibility.
Hold on, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because if you pay $50 million a year for a 10-year plan and you screw up in year 2, you just lost 8 years worth of your payments. That's why we won't do it. And if they go out, someone else will jump on.
No, what you'll do is you'll go to court and stay in court forever.
In theory you would, but that's not what happens. If you look at what's happening now with stadiums, which is our answer, doesn't happen. That's not what happens now. So maybe that's a new thing, but I'm looking at what has happened. And what has happened, that has not happened now. The naming rights has been very successful. That's why more people are doing it. It has not been that problem at all. So we stop that issue. But I go one step further. Now who's responsible for repairing the potholes? No longer government. Now they are. Again, no more biz. No more my friend who has a construction company. No more of these things that you see corruption as a petri dish for corruption. That begins to go away because is Staples or Verizon going to put up with some guy who goes, yeah, it's $1 million for the fix the potholes. I was kidding, it's $1.5 million, it's $2 million. They say, no, that's going to be in court. Staples will be in court with that guy, not the federal government, not the New York State government. They won't be in court, the private company will be in court, and they have lawyers to handle that. We're not on the hook for that. So when all these projects fail, and we've seen these projects fail again and again and again, and we have to bail them out of these failed projects, that goes away. That's not Staples' problem. They'll deal with that. Their insurance will deal with it, not us. No more taxpayer burden. We can still get services we want without taxpayer burden, which is what we have right now. Lots of it. People say, Larry, how do you get rid of taxes? This is one of the ways how. But again, we can do it also locally. Some of these smaller roads can be done by a local company who wants it. Let local businesses have it too, I don't mind. It's a great way of raising money. We could even have naming rights on the Erie Canal. Why? There's about 2 dozen or 3 dozen locks in the Erie Canal, about 500 miles of the Erie Canal. Right now it's not liable at all. Costs us about $100 million to run the Erie Canal, including capital projects, and we make less than $5 million every year. I don't have to be a math major to figure out that's a bad thing. That's not working. What if we instead made that thing commercially viable? We can't now because it's run by Parks and Recs. And what are they going to do besides make it look pretty and instead it just smells? But instead, which is true, it's what it does. Well, the Erie Canal does very well right now with smell. Really good at that. Besides that, it doesn't make any money for us. If we instead built it out and then, I'm not joking, put hovercraft on it. Why do I say hovercraft? I was in the Marine Corps 30 years ago. 30 years ago, we had hovercraft that could take a tank across the ocean. We don't have that now. But Larry, that seems weird. Yes, it's weird and cool and different, and young people might want to come here and figure out how to make that happen. I'm sure there's a way to have hovercraft traffic on the Erie Canal. I don't know how. I don't care how. But I know there's some people who want to be here and figure it out. And we've got some really good universities in Syracuse and Rochester that'd be more than happy, locally, right there put together. And we have some other good colleges, maybe in New York City, up here, right here, who might want to get some people to go down there, make that happen, instead of educating our kids, and then they leave. Educating our youth, and then they leave. Because opportunity isn't here. We can create opportunity by doing things just like that. But note what I talked about. All these things I brought up, It was not. Take $400 million of taxpayer money directed by Albany with strings attached so it can fail. That has happened again and again and again. DeWitt, Buffalo. How many up here have come and fallen apart? Consistently. And then we have to pay for all the errors. No more. It's the wrong answer. If we do that right, we can then begin to say, you know what, I don't need your taxpayer money. I don't need your federal money anymore. I'm raising it someplace else. If I don't take your federal money, then I don't have to follow your federal rules. The mandates go away. We are freer to have our counties run the way we want to run our counties. But more importantly, if we do it well, within the first 4 years, we do it well, we can actually sue the federal government and say, you're taking too much taxes from us, because we're not getting it back. And so New York will do that? Yeah. You see us do that? You know how many states will jump on that bandwagon? California in 5 seconds jump on that bandwagon. Connecticut jump on that bandwagon. Massachusetts jump on that bandwagon. There'll be 4, 5, 6, 8 states in the federal government. Boom. Just like that. We start doing that, things will change. People don't care. People are apathetic because our counties and local governments are being run by Albany and Washington. We can change that. Now hold on a second, I'm going to cover this MTA thing. Then I'll go to your promise. I'll cover farms too. MTA.
Yeah, I was like a Metro North, but go ahead.
Well, that's the same. Yes, they're the same. MTA runs Metro North. So yes, absolutely, MTA. So, MTA, the average employee's salary of an MTA employee is $118 per hour. If I'm making that up, check out yourself. It's fact. The average New Yorker, about 22. The average New York City person, third. MTA employee, average, $118 per hour. I am not going to fund them $1 more. Not $1 more.
It's because
Zero.
labor is too
Not
expensive?
one. I'm sorry?
It's because labor is too expensive?
Something's too expensive?
Yeah.
Look, they are a monopoly. Monopolies are bad. Period. They're bad. Government monopoly is still bad. It's not okay because it's government.
Who funds the MTA?
Taxpayers do.
See, so
Yes.
they don't care.
I'm sorry, say again?
Spend it, why not? Who does-
That's exactly correct, and I will not let that happen. No, I will not let that happen. The MTA will fix itself, or it will go under, or it will negotiate, or it will do what it takes. It will get no more money. Zero. Not a dime. But Larry, there'll be problems. You're right, it's collapsing now. Have any of you lived in New York City? You have. So you know this. When it rains, New York City becomes Mogadishu. I'm not joking. New York City becomes Mogadishu. We have the oldest subway station, lines in the world, and we still not there. We keep building new lines because new lines look good for new voters. But our system is broken and battered and horrible. Has to change. And I'm not going to throw good money after bad.
Okay.
No way.
So let's say don't put any money into it and the whole thing just continues to go down the hill.
It won't, because there's a second piece to it. Right now, what they're doing is, I'm not making this up, they're trying to tax Uber and taxis and Lyft to pay for the MTA.
Okay.
Do you understand how wrong that is? That's like me saying, I'm going to tax Pepsi so I can pay up Coke.
Well, it's like
No, it's
the stretch
like-
on the thruway, the taxes the tolls are continuing to pay for the Erie Canal. I mean, it's,
Yes, exactly.
That's a
Erie
false
Canal is
analogy.
huge.
That was a false
Yes.
analogy.
Yes, so,
no, it's pretty much the same.
it's exactly the same.
It's not the
Yes,
same.
the MTA,
You're wrong.
sorry?
He's wrong.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
You're saying he's
I'll
wrong.
tell you how-
You're saying he's wrong.
Yeah, he's wrong, it's true, yes, but it's okay.
Let me
Fine,
make
yes.
my statement and
Please.
you decide if I'm right or not, okay?
Please.
It's not like taxing Pepsi to pay Coke.
Okay.
It's like, we make Coca-Cola here in Albany.
Mm-hmm.
And this company, Pepsi-Cola, bought its name on a tunnel, and now people are buying Coke, and we can't afford to let them do that. See, because it's a public utility.
I don't know what you're saying.
You said one private corporation and another private
Yes,
corporation.
the MTA.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, a public corporation competing with private sector is not the thing to do.
I agree, which is why the MTA has to go under someone. This goes to the next level, right? I'm not even finished the MTA. The MTA is a disaster. The MTA is kind of run by the governor, but kind of run by the mayor, but kind of run by a board. Yeah, that happens all the time in New York State. board of this, board of that, committee of this. What does that mean? Here's what these boards actually are. They are petri dishes for corruption. Petri dishes for rewarding the party loyal. How do I know that? Our current governor, dear leader, King Andrew himself, he has received over $800,000 in donations from people who are on the boards that he has actually put on boards. Again, I'm not making this up, look yourself. 800 grand. $800,000. It is literally a way of rewarding his cronies. Those boards must either go away or go directly under someone. This goes back to his corruption piece. We think we're doing a good job by arresting all these people and putting them in jail. Right? Percoco went to jail, others are going in jail. That's actually bad. Let me tell you why it's actually bad. If we keep arresting people, it isn't the people, it's the system. It's the system. So the system doesn't get fixed. And we arrest people, and we think, see, we're fixing stuff. We're arresting people. We're doing good. No, we're not. We're keeping the same system. Just arresting people, and they all think they're not going to get caught. We keep arresting people. Change the system. If we wouldn't have these constant petri dishes for corruption, we wouldn't have so much corruption. We could make it a whole lot easier. The MTA is a disaster. I will put the MTA under me. I will take responsibility for the MTA. I will give them not $1 and not one extra dollar. I'll leave them at their budget. And I will allow literally any other option that anyone can think of to fix New York City. I don't care what that is. I don't care if that's Uber or Lyft. And by the way, there have already been answers that we've stopped. One of them was Via. You guys going to have to remember Via? Via was actually basically cars in New York City that would take bus routes. You pay $5. You get in a Via, just get in someone's car, you drive, they drop you off, wherever you want to go, for $5. Why? Because the millennials hated the subway so much, I'm not joking, they would rather spend $5 than $2.75. Because they did not want to go into the subway. That's how bad the subway is. I literally, in my own work, I work in Manhattan. I have an office in Manhattan, 2 blocks from Trump. I have an office in Manhattan, and I live in Queens. And when I go to Manhattan, I would rather walk. Because I never know what's going to happen when I get into the subway. Literally, I'm often either very early or late to meetings when I use the subway. It's that bad. It is a disaster. It is a disaster. So, we have to fix it. And I'll let anything. I don't care if someone says, Larry, how about helicopters? Let's talk about it. I'm in. And the fact that I would talk about any answer, the fact that I would talk, and that I will not give the MTA $1 extra will make and force the MTA to get better. There will be no option. There will be no option. But Larry, it'll collapse. It's collapsing now. It's collapsing now. I'm not prepared to simply allow us to slowly fall into that slow road to oblivion. This state is collapsing. And the answer you can see, no matter what you might think, 100,000 people leave every year. That's all I have to know. State's collapsing. It's happening. Did I answer your MTA question? I mean, I don't agree with it. Did I at least answer it?
Well, you've got an idea that I don't agree with.
Beautiful. I'm okay if we don't agree. I'm not okay if you think I dodged. I want to make sure you understand that I didn't answer the question.
No,
I'm okay with you.
I think there's a million pitfalls in what you're suggesting.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm okay. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry, you actually had something. Go ahead.
Completely in left field or out of left field.
Okay.
Where do you stand as far as the hemp and marijuana industry?
Okay. I will cover farmers along with that because they go together. Those two go together. All right, they go together. First things first.
Can I ask a question, like back up a little bit about the naming rights and things like that?
Can I cover this one real fast? Naming rights? Is that okay? Sure. Okay, do it, then I'll go back. Yes.
Do you know if there's a lot of appetite for businesses to do that?
Yes.
Do they want to spend millions of dollars?
Absolutely, and you can see because they're actually now competing to name coliseums. There's competition to name coliseums. So there is evidence that they want to name more things, right? It's the idea, if you remember back in the day, they were spending time trying to do product placement. Remember that for a while?
Mm-hmm.
There was actually a time when, do you remember the TV show 24? Remember that TV show, 24 from a couple years ago? There were several shows where Ford, every car in that show was a Ford. And they said, without commercial interruption, sponsored by Ford. And every car was a Ford. That didn't work very well. They tried it, that was their first test to try to do that kind of product placement. Every car was a Ford. Then there were movie people who were actually having put Pepsi, put Doritos in the movies, and have Arnold Schwarzenegger eat some Doritos, and we'll pay you for that. They've been trying that too. Only thing that's been working, believe it or not, has been the Coliseums and the stadiums. That's been working. But not just that, to tell you the truth, it's kind of funny. On sporting events, new halftime shows, it's the Staples halftime show. It's the Subway halftime show. That's also been working. So they are trying to, there's absolute appetite for this. They're trying to find new ways of getting their names out. Yes, because traditional advertising is not working. So yes, to answer your question.
Will that work on a local level, like a rural level?
Yes, depends. I'm unsure it will, to be forward with you. I think there's an appetite for her answer. I'm not sure if it will work, to be forward with you. I don't know. I don't know if a county can come up with a small enough tract of land to support where the local diner can actually do anything. I don't know. But could they, if they were smart enough, I assume they could do, couldn't the Chamber of Commerce do it? The Chamber of Commerce could, model here again, has been done before. You guys talk about this, remember Google? Google used to allow all their people, 20% of the work time, to be on anything they wanted. Anything. Anything you want. The only rule was, you had to tell your team what you were doing. Transparency. That was it. So people would do other things, and what they found was, their most successful, profitable apps were all done in those times. Some people failed. Absolutely. They did. But they had the most success when people just did what they wanted to do. They found huge success and people copied it. So I think it's a valid question. I don't know. I don't have to know. If it doesn't work, we won't do it. I'm okay with that. Did I answer your question, Liz?
Yeah.
Good. All right, great. And you were talking about marijuana and hemp and farmers. I've heard it all together. First off, marijuana and hemp should be completely decriminalized tomorrow. Totally decriminalized tomorrow. I don't mean legalized. Because legalized, this is going to happen. You legalize it, and we'll have to spend 2 years writing the law, because that's how it works, and it will absolutely turn into crony capitalism. It will. Hemp is that way now. You can grow hemp. Yes, if this, if that, if this, if that, if this, if that, which means I've set rules that only my friends can do. That's it. You can have medical marijuana now. If this, if that, if this, if that, if this, if that.
Speaking
so
of which,
only my friends can do it.
I need
Go
to
ahead.
address one thing. A lot of veterans are being helped with marijuana.
I'm there, brother. Let me finish.
Hang
I'm
on.
there.
One
there.
quick question I
Go
gotta
ahead.
ask you. Where do you stand as far as these medical marijuana cards being issued and then taking away the Second Amendment rights?
I am on my way. I'm going to cover that completely.
Okay, cool.
So what I'm saying is marijuana and hemp should be completely decriminalized, period. So no punishment. Zero punishment. Zero punishment. None. Now, but Larry, there's criminals doing bad things. If you rob a liquor store to get money for marijuana, you should be arrested and go to jail for robbing a liquor store. But I don't care why you robbed a liquor store. Did you rob it because you wanted marijuana? Because you wanted booze? Because you're a bad guy? I don't care. Robbing a liquor store is a crime. You did it for weed? I don't care. It doesn't matter. You should get more or less time in jail because of the reason why you robbed the store. You robbed the store. You're a bad guy. Do your time. But it should be totally decriminalized. When it comes to farmers and selling, farmers, hemp and marijuana, you should simply cut and paste and give the exact same regulations as onions. That's it. Cut and paste. Where it says onions, put marijuana. Where it says onions, put hemp. Done. Move on. Next deal. I don't want to write anything. I want to cut and paste, go along with your bad self. Do it. If farmers think they should grow hemp, grow hemp. I'm not a farmer. I don't know if it's going to be good for your farm to grow hemp. I don't know. But if you think so, go on. If you should grow marijuana, grow on. I'm okay with that. It doesn't matter. Just grow. I'm not done yet. I'm going to keep going. All right, so with that in mind, once they grow whatever they want to grow, the problem is that most farmers have a bigger problem, and that is farmers generally have 3 options in New York State. Number 1, sell your farm to someone bigger. That's option 1, which is happening all over the place. 2, get a job, because you can't afford to survive on your farm, so it becomes your hobby. Your farm becomes your hobby. Yes, that's common, all the time. I wish it was the first time I'd seen that. I haven't. I've been campaigning for 6 months around the state. I hear stories. So, So that's option two. Option three, pack up and leave. I don't like those three options at all. I think they're terrible. One answer is what I just talked about. Let farmers grow. Whatever they want to grow, grow. That's option one. It's the second option though. Second piece. I want to create a farm bill. It's a farm bill that's already been done in Wyoming. Everything I'm mentioning is not brand new. It's been done someplace else. That charitable credit I talked about, that's in Arizona. So it's been done already. Nothing's brand new. It's all been done someplace before. This was done in Wyoming. And in Wyoming, they have a bill where if you are a farmer and you agree to sell only within New York State, and I don't want to have a program, no programs, no if this, if that, if this. Very simple. You sign a sheet of paper. Yes, you're done. That's the program. You sign a sheet of paper and say, I agree, I will sell only in New York State. Then you should be immune from all federal regulatory bodies. The only difference is you must be transparent. You must put on your packaging, we did not comply with federal regulatory bodies. That's all. If you want to do that, do that. I don't have a problem with that. That will give the small farmer some advantage of the big farm. Big farms also across state lines. They all do. A lot of small farms don't. It gives the opportunity for a small farmer to have an advantage that hopefully can match, at least compete with the bigger farms. At least compete. Right? Add marijuana too, add hemp. They got a shot at least. We got a shot here maybe. We get something going on. Make that happen. Now we can rock and roll. That's what I want to achieve. But that can also go to small businesses too. You're a small business owner, same thing. And people say, but wait a minute, Larry, if they don't deal with federal regulations, and oh my God, everyone's going to die. I don't know. Of course not. What's my example for this? Did I make this up? No, it's called health food stores. Health food stores throughout this state have been selling stuff that's not FDA approved. Where's all deaths? I don't see them nowhere. The FDA has killed far more people than any health food store, ever. Not even close. Far more people got FDA approved drugs than a health food store. So you know what? Make them like health food stores. I'm okay with that. Now when it comes to selling marijuana and hemp, make it like anything you want. Make it like tobacco. Make it like alcohol. Make it like wool. I don't care. Cut and paste regulations. I don't want to build new laws. Takes 2 years, corn capitalism. That's how this state works. I know that. That's how this state works. So it's got to be cut and paste. What's working now? Are we selling this well? Awesome. Cut and paste. Put it in. That's the new regulations and rules.
What about regulations for things that are already being sold? I'm thinking of milk.
This is a tough one for me because a lot of the dairy farmers actually like it.
The ones that are still in business.
Yes, some actually like it. It's a harder one for me to deal with, to be forward with you. This is not as easy for me to handle because the issue is there's a lot of people who like the idea that the regulation keeps their money coming in.
Yeah.
A lot of them do. So the idea of me trying to break that, what I'm trying to do there, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure to be forward with you. The milk was a special piece that me and my policy have not gone through yet. But my gut tells me, this is I'm telling you my gut feeling, not my actual policy. My gut feeling is with the milk, I have to allow the same idea, that you can choose to deregulate if you want to. That's my gut. Yes, that's my gut. But to be forward, I don't want to give you that answer for sure. That's what my gut tells me. But my policy team, by the way, meets every Monday night. We meet every Monday night, and we go through policy. That's how come I have all these things. That's how I know these things, right? So, but milk we have not jumped on yet. That's on our agenda. We haven't. But my gut tells me that we're probably going to go with some type of answer, which will be opt out.
Well, I went to high school here, and at the time when people had 50 cow herds.
Yep.
And as I was telling her earlier, one of my high school friends was a dairy farm kid, and he became a loan officer at MFFMHA, and he said, you could just take them off.
Yep.
The end of the milk can was the end of the 50 cow herd. The
Yes.
herd buyout was the end of the 100 cow.
Yes.
He could list them all.
Absolutely. It keeps
I
happening.
milked 600 cows to stay in business.
Absolutely. And I think that has to change it. The idea, look,
That's why all these houses are empty.
yes, look, whenever government decides to set pricing, things go poorly. That's just how it works, period. Right? That's our healthcare problem, in a nutshell. Right? That's our problem.
We forced them into loans.
Yes, and I don't want, look, I never want that. If you're done farming and you want to sell your farm, please sell your farm. But I don't want you to sell your farm because you can't farm.
Exactly.
I want you to sell your farm because you're done farming. The average person, by the way, in this country is going to have 5 careers. I mean that, 5 careers. Yes, not 5 jobs, 5 careers. And farming might be one of them. I don't know. The other problem is the average farmer in New York State is over 55 years old. Not that I mind 55-year-old farmers. I'm happy. I'd also like 35, 45, 25, 15. I like all the ages, right? That would be nice. But we don't do a good job of it. So that will help to deal with the farmers.
Well, Albany has been a knife in the back.
Absolutely it has. There's no question. 100% true.
Okay.
You guys good?
No, one of the things is, if I keep seeing in the paper, $50,000 you can get to start a new business. There's too much milk. The farmers that are making milk are going broke, but you wanna take my tax money and give it to somebody else to compete against me?
Yes. This is one of our biggest issues I mentioned about taxpayer money coming in. Here's the biggest kick in the face. This is what happens consistently. And this stories like this, you know, we want to bring a Walmart into a certain area, and we're going to give the Walmart $10 million in benefits and bonuses to come to a certain area, right? A Dick's sporting goods store comes to an area. Well, of course, Dick's comes to an area because all that's in the area is a couple local businesses that supply all the sporting goods. So Dick's says, oh, great, I can come in and wipe them out. And we help Dick's wipe them out.
There you go.
So the guy who's busting his rump for 10 years, supporting his own community with lacrosse sticks and hockey sticks and, you know, catcher's mitts, now that guy has to pay taxes to Walmart, or to Dick's Sporting Goods, so they can come in and put him out of business. And here's the worst part. The bribes go away in a couple of years. When the bribes go away, Dick's Sporting Goods goes away. And now the other 3 stores are already out of business. So now we got nothing. That happens all the time. I want to end that. I was in Utica, and the guy said, well, we're getting $300 million in money from Albany. That's why we want to do this. It's a great investment. I said, if it's a great investment, okay, maybe it is, if it is, then where are all the bankers to rush up here and loan the money then? So I know guys in Manhattan, I know bankers, they can come up with $300 million. They do it all the time. They can come up with $300 million. They absolutely can. They could come up with $300 million. They could do it. Why aren't they standing in line to give you the check? It's a great investment. Why aren't they? If the Buffalo Billion was a great investment, why weren't bankers standing in line to write checks to make $1 billion? Why weren't they standing in line? No bankers are standing in line. No investors are standing in line because these aren't good investments. These are government bribes. That's all they are. To say, I did something, so please keep voting for me. These are government bribes. If the government was competing against investors, maybe I would buy it. That never happens. Go ahead.
Walmart just built 40,000 cow barns not too far from Chicago. They were buying all their milk products from Dean Foods. They told them guys of May 31st, they're all done picking their milk up.
Yep. There, yes. That's actually a thing called being Walmarted. That's literally a verb. That happens so often, it's called they were Walmarted.
They told them.
Yes.
There's 70 dairies in southern Pennsylvania that got told they were going to be done that day.
Yep. Absolutely.
And they have no market for
Yes.
the milk.
We have to stop that. Farmers also have something else. They say, Larry, how else can you help? I said, those things, but with something else, more important. I'll get you more customers. Because people will stop leaving New York State. And it's a little bit off, then I'll come back to your other questions. All right, we're going to keep moving down this road. If we do this right, and we begin to get people to want to stay in New York, help small businesses grow, but I'll have plans for that too, I'll answer this question if you like, and also deal with our pension bomb, which is a disaster, fix some of our Medicaid, Medicare problems, also a disaster, get people to stay, find other ways to raise money, including the Erie Canal and naming rights and all those things. Within 4 years, we can eliminate the state income tax. If we eliminate the state income tax, just the idea of thinking about eliminating state income tax, will keep a lot of businesses in this state who are thinking about leaving. Because people don't want to move. They have to move. They have to. If they believe there's a chance of getting rid of that state income tax, a lot of them will stay. That's what I want. And doing that can ensure that we get a 4 to 8%, depending upon how much money you make, increase in New Yorkers' pockets without spending one taxpayer dollar, and without the actual employers spending any extra money. Keep running rates. I like that. Do you guys okay? Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Yes. You got something? No. So, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, how do you like balance between like keeping the small family-owned businesses and also attracting other businesses?
Yeah.
I know like Global Foundries in Albany, like that's one of the few things I feel like Andrew Cuomo has done well, is like attracting like larger companies like Global Foundries.
Yes, but he attracts them by bribing.
And then
Okay.
That's my problem. I like big business. I work for big business. A lot of my customers in my day job are big business, right? Estee Lauder, Models, Government of Singapore. I have large clients. I like big business. I think it's awesome. I get paid money to deal with big business. I'm happy. I like them. But you can't survive because you'll get Walmarted. I teach people when I'm dealing with entrepreneurs. If you're an entrepreneur, I will always teach you one thing. Try your best to never have any one client be more than 40% of your income. You have a client that's more than 40% of your income, you're asking to be Walmart. You're begging for it. You don't want to do it. States and cities and counties are the same. I don't want the one big thing that controls my city or town. Rochester felt that when Kodak left. Right? I don't want that. I want lots of big business and medium-sized businesses and small businesses. I want them all. The problem is most of the small businesses now are franchises. Now, I'm against franchise. I like franchises too. They're a great way for many people to get into entrepreneurship. But the problem is there are too many franchises. Not because they aren't good, but because it's the only way to handle regulations. You are paying a franchise to deal with your partner, the government. You're paying 7%, 8%, 9%, whatever that fee is, so they can outsource all of your HR regulations. So you can outsource all your lobbying to the government to make sure your business is fine. So you can outsource all these things. They have the lawyers, they have the accountants, they have it all for you. All the regulation means franchises are more powerful and more valuable. To be forward, they're more valuable now thanks to the government. Lots of regulations and detailed taxes and crazy tax codes makes franchises more valuable. Problems with HR and HIPAA, that's awesome. Makes franchises more valuable because they know it already. There's a problem, they sue the government for you. There's a problem, they lobby the government for you. They make sure you're set. You're a small guy, you can't do that. We were in Albany yesterday and with my immediate chief, some other people, and one of my advisors, and I said, let's go to a local diner. And he said, why local diner? I said, because if the local diner survives, it's good. That's what I said. That's my mindset. If a local diner survives, it's good. Franchises are often terrible. They're often terrible. They can survive. Right? You know a franchise? You gotta be good to survive nowadays. So like, local diner, go there, it'll be good. All good. So yes, did I answer your question or no?
Yeah.
I would like big business to come because two reasons. One, we have the talent pool they want. That's the advantage of New York City. New York City is a disaster to do business in. It is. I know it isn't. It's terrible. But the talent pool is amazing. 1/3 of New York City is people who aren't born in the country. Another third are people who aren't born in New York City. People come from everywhere. The best talent comes to New York City. That's why there's so many people there. So the talent pool is amazing. That's why businesses go there, even though the environment to work is horrible. Talent's so great. So I'd like us to have an awesome talent pool in here in New York. And we don't because they're all leaving. Our youth is flying away. Talent pool number one. Second, customer base. Good talent pool, good customer base. Big business will come here no matter what we do or don't do. They will come. And New York City is the example. There are 20 million people in the metro area of New York City. 16 million close to New York City. 8.5 in the city itself. That's massive customer base. And talent pool. Business keeps thriving in New York City even though it's a disaster. I want New York City to be like that. Talent pool and customer base. They'll come. We don't have to bribe them.
I'm hearing you say two different things.
Hold on.
You're saying big business is good, and then in the next breath you're saying we want small business?
No, because they're both good. Big business is good.
But
And is small business and medium.
How you get Walmart?
Yes, but however, here's my specific caveat. I want big business to come here without bribes because they see value and we don't bribe them. I don't mind big business coming in. Let them come
Well, if you look
without
at
bribes.
Potsdam as an example, Potsdam permitted Lowe's and Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart had less of an impact than Lowe's. Lowe's
I don't know the details of that. Did the local municipality give them benefits to come in?
I have no idea.
My gut is yes. That's my gut, because that's what always happens. They probably said, come in Lowe's,
I wouldn't be surprised.
come in Lowe's, and we'll discount you. Here's what they do all the time. Here's what they do. They take time and say, come on in to this town or this city, this group, this county. We will give you this discount, this benefit, this benefit, this benefit, right? So guess what? I have all those benefits. I can afford to stay open 24 hours. I'm not paying the same taxes or anything this guy's paying. I can do it. If that's what happened, the government ruined those companies, not Lowe's. That's what happened. And if it is just
Wait a
as
minute,
simple,
Lowe's does a lot of its own dirty work.
hold on. And if it is that simple, that 24 hours was the only reason, then those local companies should have found a way to stay open 24 hours. If that was the only issue. I don't think it was.
It isn't.
I don't think it was.
It isn't, but
Go ahead,
that's
please.
not the reason either. The reason.
I got you. Hold on. Let me go to someone else.
You're in the store.
It's someone else's turn to talk.
Let me go to someone else.
Someone else.
Please go ahead.
So can't we finish the topic ever?
We did.
You did.
Yes.
You get to talk.
Please go.
So, this kind of goes into that a little bit. Part of the issue is, in not just here in New York, but around the country, is that the biggest customer that corporate America has is big government.
Absolutely
Is the federal
true.
government. And what Larry Sharpe is proposing here instead is that us in here, we have a say in that by providing incentives like the naming rights. The
Yep.
naming rights would create a system where we're the people saying and dictating, how the resource. We're using big business as a resource
Yes.
rather than big business using us as a resource. And the reason why big business is using us as a resource is because their biggest customer is the federal government.
And the government mandates it.
And the government
Absolutely.
mandates it. I wouldn't
Big
be
business
surprised.
lobbies,
Right.
and then government mandates it.
I wouldn't be surprised if politicians in Potsdam got kickbacks
Yeah.
for what it happens all
Neither
the
would I,
time.
but that's not why Lowe's is putting people out of business.
Let's be very clear. If big business, because of an open and fair market, if that's true, puts small business out of work, I'm okay with that.
Are you?
I am. If it is a fair
Absolutely.
ground. But it never is.
Yeah, and that's
That's
because
the
of economies
problem.
of scale, that's not because of price.
Economy of scale's fine. If economy of scales puts a small business out of business, that's the way of the world. They have to adapt to that. I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with government deciding that because you're big and you have lots of money, that I will give you an unfair advantage so you can crush others. I'm not okay with that.
What if they take a short-term loss?
Say again?
What if that business decides to take a short-term loss because they're so large, they can take a short-term loss?
They often do.
Then
That's
it's
what
all
they
in the
use.
same, they're in the same situation where they put them, that business out of, like, we have 2 grocery stores now. Our
Yeah.
local grocery store and then a Price Chopper that came in miles down the road.
Yeah.
So they could be taking a short-term loss,
Happens all the time.
and they're putting they've already shortened hours at our local grocery store.
Just
Yes.
So, and
Walmart, the
then as
local
soon as the
grocery
I
local
agree.
grocery store,
I,
but so how do you,
One second, hold on. Yes, go ahead.
how do you ensure that they're not gonna be taking the short-term losses?
You don't, and you can't. I am not the guy who wants to go in there and say, you're a big business, therefore you must do A, B, and C. You know whose job it is? That's your job. That's your job, not mine. I'm not going to go in and start saying, well, you're 100 people, and I think you're taking a short-term loss, so I'm going to punish you because I say so, but maybe can't do that. If you know what's happening, it's your job to make sure that people know what's happening. Yes, you do that by showing up in your local county and telling people that.
Or your local grocery store.
Or your local grocery store and telling people that. We have a habit in this country, particularly New York State, but heavily in this country, heavily in New York State, that the goal is the governor or the mayor is going to solve all our problems. I don't want to solve all your problems. I can't solve all your problems. You have to solve some of your own problems. To facilitate you solving your own problems. That's what I want to do. Facilitate you solving your own problems. Once I start stepping in, I'm not perfect. I'm just a man. And so is every other person. Is a man or a woman going to be in Albany? Cindy Nixon wins, it's going to be a woman. A man or a woman is going to be in Albany, and that's it. Not a God, not Jesus, just a man or a woman. That's it. And we're not going to be perfect. And I don't expect us to be. So it's a problem. I agree. And if you tell me about it, I'll talk about it. Yes, I will. I'll go on TV and talk about it. I absolutely will. But I will not force that business to do anything. Because that's that business's business. They should do what they feel is right when they feel it's right. But I'm happy to say it's wrong and it's bad. I'll say it, absolutely. And then if the people decide, I don't care, it's cheaper milk, I'm going over there. Then you did it to yourself, and that's fine. That's fine. I talk about saving Main Street all the time. There are people in New York City I know who don't like Starbucks. And in some places in Manhattan, there's literally a Starbucks across the street. I'm not joking. If you've been there, you know. Starbucks in this one, across from the Starbucks. There's that much business. Starbucks across the street. There are people who will walk an extra block to a Dunkin' Donuts because they don't want to buy Starbucks.
Yeah.
Or there goes the local guy who has a local little spot. Say again?
Tim Hortons.
Oh, sorry, yes. So we can also take time to go to other local guys who just have that little cart and they have coffee there instead. They do that because they want to support local guys. I do it too. I travel this entire state. You don't see me go to a franchise. I will always go to local business on purpose. If you follow my page, you'll see often I put the business on, I click to their actual page, I promote the local business. I do it all the time. I'm doing it every week. I'm doing it. It's going to be a local diner up that I went to someplace saying, they did this, they did that. My videos, I show local businesses in my videos. It's never a franchise. So I actively do that. I do. Go ahead.
Just to speak to this, I actually manage a local grocery store.
There we go.
Yeah, I directly compete against Walmart and Price Chopper. I'm never going to put Walmart and Price Chopper out of business.
Yep.
But we have created a market set where I sell milk $1.50 more expensive than Walmart and Price Chopper because whatever deals, whether it's a loss leader or whatever it is, but I sell a lot of milk because people come to our store because of what we have to offer. They're not going to put us out of business. Bad management might put us out of business.
Yes.
But that's on me, not on. And so I will never put Walmart and Price Chopper out of business.
Yes.
But people come, and our business is thriving. And so that I just think when the playing field is level,
Yep.
that will make it that much easier.
That's
for me
exactly
to
the answer.
compete and to make
People
money.
gotta learn to spend it local.
Yes, which is another reason why
I'm a believer in that.
when you add to the idea that the concept is, I don't want to just solve a problem. That's attacking the branches. I want to fix the root, which is culture. The root is culture. This is why that idea of the tax credit that I talk about, the charitable credit, gives you extra credit if you go local. I want to change the environment that, you know what, we should be going local. Why don't we go local? Why don't we do that? It'd be easier and better if we did that. Another concept here. There are a lot of people who are struggling in New York State. And there are some people who want to work, but it doesn't make any financial sense for them to work because of either on disability or they're on some type of public assistance. And they start working, that's to lose all the benefits. Or they have to pay for child care. So they decide to stay at home. Now, some people aren't going to work no matter what I do. And it's fine, I can't stop that. But a lot of people do want to work when it makes no sense. The system tells them not to. So how about an idea of child gardens? What does that mean? Do you happen to have children? Great. Do you have to take your kids to the park? Great, okay. Take your kids to the park. I say, do me a favor, I have 2 daughters. Take my daughters to the park with you. Is that okay?
We do that. We have a group of moms, his wife, and.
There we go. You all go to the park. Do you require insurance for that?
No.
No. Do you require a license for that?
Not
No, you don't. Absolutely you don't. So why don't we create, as long as they're within a county, child gardens, not child care, because that had regulatory issues. Not child care. Totally different. Child gardens, not child care. Child gardens, totally different. Which will be sponsored by some type of nonprofit. What I like the nonprofit sponsor piece is, it can help out those nonprofits that are suffering. For example, VFW, American Legion, the Black Church. These are suffering now. Why can't we instead say, hey, VFW, do you want to sponsor a child garden? Yeah, that'd be amazing. Hey, church down the street, why don't you want to sponsor a child garden? Yeah. Hey, Rotary, you want to sponsor? Yeah, absolutely. And now again, consumer chooses which one they trust, which one they go to. Do you trust your local church? Awesome. Do you trust your American Legion? Awesome. Do you trust your VFW? Awesome. Drop your kid off there. It's a child garden. You sign a sheet of paper, you accept limited liability, done deal. You might say, but Larry, what if I want the regular childcare? Go, it's there. It's there, go. But what if I trust this nonprofit? Think about this along with that $500 credit that you can now put into that place. You would have the VFW get a bunch more money when they have child gardens. It would connect perfectly. Takes care of the idea of child care for people who want to get off disability, people who want to get out and start working, people who want to get off public assistance. You can drop your child off someplace you want, that you feel safe and trust. You can volunteer as the moms do. Some people will volunteer because that's what always happens. You've done it already, and I didn't even tell you about it. You're doing it already. That will happen naturally. It always does. And now someone who's trying to get back on their feet, a single mom, a dad and mom who had a medical problem, they will get back on their feet. They can. The second piece, though, and again, no taxpayer money. No extra taxpayer money anywhere. Not raising any taxes at all. Chance to get back on your feet. Second piece. What if we instead of right now in New York State, and you guys who are employees know, you have to have workers' comp for both work-related injuries and non-work-related injuries, and you got to go through New York Credit, which is that insurance agency that we have. We're the only city who has one. Everyone else uses federal standards. That should go away tomorrow. Not just that. Instead of us having a workers' comp plan, we have to help someone out when they have non-related injuries. How about instead of giving them an actual disability policy, that when they're in disability, they get hurt in disability, or even public assistance, they're in trouble. I got it. There are people who, once they're disabled, stop working, period, because it doesn't make sense to change careers. I know guys who are on construction, get disabled, go on disability, and say, well, I could work. I could be a security guard. I could be a driver. I could be a so-and-so. But I got to start at $13 an hour, $12 an hour. I'm getting paid $1,200 from disability. Why work? Why work? Or work off the books. Don't pay taxes. Why work? Instead, this insurance policy comes in and there's a 2-for-1. Every $2 you make, you lose $1 disability. Gives you an incentive to start working and get you off the dole. Get you off disability. And you can now rebuild your life. Maybe you're 25, 29, 30. You get hurt. You can't be a construction worker anymore. You can't be a farmer anymore. You can't be an insert thing here. But you can drive a truck. You work security. You can be a coder. You could sit inside and be an executive assistant. You can do those things. But they're $13 an hour, $12 an hour, $11 an hour. I can't do that. With this plan, you can. Work your way up in a new field, change your career, be successful. Keep your adulthood. There are people who begin to lose hope, lose faith. I don't want that to happen. That's how we begin to build that up. Again, no extra taxpayer money. Second chance. All right, let me go to education. Did I answer your question so far? Let me go to education. All right, education. I also want serious reform in education. Our education system is completely broken. We have a K through 12 model that should have gone away a long time ago. We should be at K through 10. I'm not joking, K through 10. At 16, kids need to be out of high school finished. Now they're done at 16. They have 4 choices at 16. 4. Choice 1. For some kids, college is exactly the answer, and they should go. I love it, awesome, no worries. 2 years prep school to go to college, because here's what's happening now. You won't know this if you're in college, you know this. College now, the first year, is 13th grade. You're laughing, you know it's true, it's 13th grade. You're laughing too, you know, 13th grade. That's what it is. Kids are not ready for college, so they've made the first year of college 13th grade. They know that. Why? Because too many kids, in the last 2 years of high school, smoking weed and playing video games. You know that's true. They spend the last 2 years smoking weed, playing video games, then we tell them to go to college and wonder why they're bad college students. They just spent 2 years smoking weed and playing video games. Of course they're bad college students. That's why the average kid takes 6 years to complete college, if they even complete. Our graduation rate's the worst it's been in years. I think ever, not mistaken. It's worst ever. So now I'm 24, what?
Is that New York State or the?
That's the country. It's the country. So now, all of a sudden, we're 24 years old and never had a boss, and we wonder why they have no work ethic. And we wonder why they have no work ethic. 24 years old and never had a boss. Well, yeah, tough to have work ethic when you met a boss at 24 years old. How about instead you're 16? If college is for you, go to actual prep school. And when you get to college, when you're 19, you are ready to rock and roll and kick some ass and do well in college. That's what I want, option one. Option two, go to trade school. Now we have some of it now, OC, CT, you have that kind of stuff. But the problem is right now, the image of that is terrible. Do you actually hear people, guidance counselors go, you know what's right for you, trade school? They don't do that. They go, how do you get into college? Go get your test for college. College is everything. College is everything. That's a fantasy and has been a fantasy for years. It's simply not true. Now, that doesn't mean college is bad. It means college isn't for everyone, particularly at 18 years old. Now, all of you who have been to school, you see people in college. 18, 28, 38, 48, 58. People go to college all times in their life. Why do we think it has to be when they're 18? This is silly. The average person is going to have 5 careers. Let them go to college whenever they want to change their career. Whenever that is. Go ahead.
Who's going to pay for the prep schools?
Great question. We'll get there in a second. But let me go through those 4 and I'll cover that. Go through those 4 first. So prep school is one issue. You go to prep school, 2 years prep school, go to college. Love it. Great. Next piece, you go to trade school. Now trade school issue is, I don't want us to think people, oh, trade school, oh, you aren't that smart, so go to BOCES. Yes, and it was smart. But there's an image today that BOCES means you aren't smart. Look at the heads nodding. It's not smart to go to college. And that's wrong, because here's what happens. You have guys who go to college for 4 years, get a master's degree, have 6 figures of debt, and they're baristas at Starbucks with 6 figures of debt. I see it in Manhattan all the time. You know it. Yes? But then the other guy, who was the dumb kid, who went to BOCES, that guy's a plumber, he's 26, he's making 6 figures and no debt. That's the dumb kid, that's the smart kid. And we gotta change that image. And I will be a governor who will change that image. We need the trades, desperately. We need people who are good at that. But not just that. Some guys will stay in trades for 4, 5, 10 years and decide I don't like it anymore. And they'll go to college and go into management or do whatever they want to go, become a teacher. All good. I don't mind. Let them do it. It's okay. Third option, go directly to college. If you're that brilliant kid who can jump right into college, go. I don't care. Go at 16. If you're that brilliant kid, go. Fourth option, get a job. Just get a job. We actually have labor laws in this country from like when kids were dying in bobbin accidents and getting caught in a loom. What are we talking about? This is not the case at all. This is fantasy again. Why are we doing that? What's going to happen if some 16-year-old kid goes to work for 40 hours a week? He might learn what it is to work. That's what he might learn. He might learn you got to show up at 9 when the boss says show up at 9. He might learn that. She might figure out that taxation, oh my God! She might care about taxes. She might get it. That might actually happen. They also might realize, I don't like working like this. I'm going to change my career. I'm going to go back to school. They might figure this out. And every time I get this answer, but Larry, 16, what if they make a mistake? Good! Make it at 16, not 26. We're all